In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Sony 70-200 f2.8 G Master Lens Mark II. Here's the story. The Sony FE 70-200mm f2.8 GM OSS Mark II lens is an E-mount lens for full frame cameras. It has an aperture range of f2.8 to f22. It has a 29% weight reduction from the previous Mark I GM model. It has 4 XD linear autofocus motors, nano AR coating, optical steady shot image stabilization, dust and moisture resistant construction, and an 11 blade circular diaphragm. And a disclaimer right from the start, I just want to mention that all the footage that you see from the 70-200mm lens in this video has a Tiffin Black Pro Mist filter 1/8 strength on it. So if you're looking for a scientific review and first impressions of this lens, I apologize. The Black Pro Mist filter is a look that I like with my projects, so that's all I have to offer. But hopefully this video will still give you an idea of what this lens can do. In the past, I have been using the Sony 70-200mm f4 lens, and you might be thinking, Nathan, why did you upgrade to the new G Master lens? Well, there are a few reasons. One of the reasons is I wanted that extra stop of light that the 2.8 gives me. Now, initially when I got the f4 lens, it was more of a budgetary reason that I got it, and I figured with the funds that I had available to purchase new camera lenses, because I was just migrating over from the Panasonic ecosystem and going to the Sony ecosystem, so I didn't really want to be spending a lot of money on lenses. But one piece of advice that I would give you when purchasing equipment, things like lenses, always invest in the best lens you can get for the budget you have at the time. At the time, the best lens I could get was the 70-200mm f4 lens, and there were a few compromises that I had. One of the compromises was a loss of one stop of light. So as you may know, the difference between an f4 lens and an f2.8 lens is one stop of light. And for some people, this isn't a big deal, and I figured it wouldn't be a big deal for me. And it really wasn't that big of a problem for a while until I started taking photos inside in low light conditions. And at the end of the shoot, I'd take the photos back into Lightroom and I'd look at the images and think, gee, it'd be really nice to just have that one extra stop. So that's one of the reasons that I got the new 70-200mm f2.8 lens. Another reason is because it is a G Master lens, and with that comes superior autofocus, and also it comes with a few extra features that I'll be able to use on my Sony cameras. One thing that Sony has recently done is upgraded a few of their cameras to have lens breathing compensation. My A camera is the Sony FX6, which has this feature, and the camera that I'm shooting with right now is the Sony a7IV, which also has the feature. And if you don't know what lens breathing compensation is, I have done some videos on this already on my channel, so after you finish watching this video, I'd encourage you to go to my channel and check them out there. One thing that struck me with the Sony f4 version was how small and light it was. And the new G Master Mark II version is a little bit heavier, but I don't find it to be much of a problem. So to date, this lens is the single most expensive lens I've purchased for my video production company. And you're probably thinking, if you do know how much this lens costs, is it worth it? And the short answer for me is yes, it is. Why? Well, let's talk about it. I run a video production company, and because of that, I want to have the best equipment that I can get within my means. And I found that even though this lens is quite expensive, it was within my means to be able to purchase. If you are a hobbyist, if you don't make money from the camera gear that you purchase and that you're using, I would not recommend getting this lens. If you need a 70-200mm telephoto lens and you're shooting on Sony, I would strongly recommend to get the Sony 70-200mm f4 lens. Although it is quite a bit of money, it is still a great lens for the amount it costs. Personally, for me, because I make money off the equipment that I own, it makes sense to invest into the best. And I believe that this is the best telephoto lens that I can get for my Sony cameras. And fortunately enough, I have been able to use this lens on a variety of projects recently, which you've been seeing footage of and photos of during this video. So overall, these are my first impressions of the lens. I love it. It works really well for the types of shoots that I do. I do operate a lot handheld using a cine saddle, and having the 70-200mm lens to be able to zoom in and get different shots very quickly, reliably with the autofocus, and just having a nice image as well is really valuable for the projects that I do on a daily basis. Overall, I found the autofocus on this lens to be quite reliable. Using the Sony FX6's touch autofocus was really good. It wasn't perfect 100% of the time, but I did find that sometimes it might have been a little bit of user error, but overall, using the autofocus with this lens was an enjoyable experience. It seemed to snap onto the target quickly and reliably as well, so that is always something that I'm looking for when I'm doing run and gun type video shoots. So overall, if you're looking for a telephoto lens and you shoot on Sony, I definitely recommend this lens, especially if you make money off your camera equipment. And that's the video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on video creation in the future.